Alright, so we are back for another video, guys, and today we're gonna check a new brand here in this channel. This is the Yuan TForce, and what's really interesting here is this is a single dynamic driver and around $100 in price range as well. So in that price range for single dynamic drivers, really competitive. You have the NF audios, you have the Moondrops of the world. So how will this fare and compete? We're gonna find out in this video. So looking at the box itself, it's definitely a unique box here. So it's a bit loud here. And it says Trilogy Part 1, 10mm single dynamic driver in-ear monitors. And also at the other side, you're getting 10mm DLC single dynamic driver, 103 dB in sensitivity, 32 ohm impedance, 20 to 20 kHz in frequency range, and cable type 6 and OCC as well. Opening it up, and this is gonna be your unboxing experience, and you have that gold trims there, which looks really cool. And yeah, we're gonna compare this maybe to the Starfields. That is gonna be our main driving force for these. But really interesting to know how they tune their stuff, because yeah, for new brands, it's always a different sound. There's gonna be something different for them. So in the box, you're getting some manuals, some joint as well, and your warranty card as well even has some art to it, so that's really nice. So this is the leather case that you are getting, and look at that, guys. Look at the details of that, branded as well. And you have TForce audio here at the side as well, and you're also getting this cable. Actually this feels really good here. Actually, this reminds me of maybe the Kinera Freya, which is maybe 2 times the price of your TForce. And yeah, really nice feeling cable overall. And you're also getting a nice selection of tips, some balanced ear tips, bass enhanced ear tips, and also foam tips as well. So looking at the lobes itself, it's definitely a looker for me. So I actually didn't expect that it will look like this. You have the TForce logo at the side, and the shape as well is quite unique. I haven't seen something like this, so the design is definitely thought of for their branding here. You have some fins, but it's not that big of a fin, but this will stay on your ear nicely. And in terms of insertion as well, so fairly good in terms of the insertion. So this might offer us really good isolation here. But yeah, the build quality really nice here. This reminds me maybe of maybe a Blonde or a Tin Audio kind of build quality. It feels really good in the hand, and also quite upscale as well. All right, so we are now wearing it on the ear, and that fits really nicely here. So for a metal IEM, this is one of the best fitting IEMs that I have worn on my ear. So maybe it reminds me of the BA5 in the fit on the ear for me. Really nice here. So almost perfect for me of a fit on the ear, and that you're getting that kind of look. I would say this competes with your Blondes and your Tin Audios of the world in the build quality. I'm really surprised on the build quality here. One of the best in that $100 price range in terms of the overall build quality. So quite surprising for that for a new brand here. So next, we're listening to some tunes, and we're gonna use the Cavalli Tube Hybrid with the Grace S DAC for our listen today. So we're now listening to some Let's Groove, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Actually, first impressions, guys, this does require some power to drive. And first impressions, this does remind me a lot of maybe the Moondrop Starfields in terms of the overall listen. But maybe the bass here is a bit more elevated in the mix. And yeah, the soundstage here is quite expansive as well. So for a dynamic driver, that's quite cool. Yeah, the vocal positioning for me, much like the Starfields, very near to the Starfields in the positioning, quite good. So the sound is really musical here. The bass impact is actually quite substantial in the mix, and very musical to listen to. So this is quite an engaging type of listen. So this is more of a warm, neutral sound for me on the ear. So I would say very close to the Starfields in that regard. So yeah, the vocal positioning for me is really nice. And the top end as well actually has a bit of shimmer there at the top. And this more in the aggressive side of presentation as well. So it's quite lively, quite musical to listen to on the ear. So looking at the bass region, so the bass actually goes really deep in the mix. So for a dynamic driver, quite warranted. So it's quite prominent in the mix. This is not bass shy. This is not the most technically capable bass that I've heard. So there's a bit of boom there. So this is not the fastest bass that I've heard. So the bass is really ample and upfront in the mix, and quite center in the mix as well. So this is more of your engaging upfront type of bass. So we are now listening to Bruno Mars. That's what I like. And here in this track, there's actually big bass in the mix usually in this track, and it shows here with the Yuan TForce. So it's quite big as well in the mix, but actually surprisingly, there's just maybe a hint of mid-bass bleed there, but not that bad. So the bass, I would say, even if it's up front in the mix, it's not overly done, it's not overpowering in the mix. But yeah, definitely there's ample bass here. You won't find the bass lacking in this regard. So maybe compared to your Starfields, the bass here is a bit more prominent in the mix. Actually, in terms of the overall sound, this may be a bit closer to the Arias in this regard over the Starfields. So this is a bit more fun compared to your Moondrop Starfields here. Let's go to some Hard Times Paramore. So for the female vocals and the male vocals is nearly where you want it to be. So maybe a touch recessed in the mix. And actually for me, the vocals is a bit north, more aggressive than neutral for me. So this is definitely more engaging, more musical to listen to, and really lively to listen to as well. So actually for me, for Hard Times, there's a bit of maybe a hint of shoutiness there. In terms of the vocal presentation, it's more smooth, it's more full, lush in the overall presentation. So quite warranted for a dynamic driver. So that's that smoothness maybe of your Starfields or Arias of the world. So for September, Earth, Wind, and Fire, the vocal positioning quite where you want it to be. So actually, compared to maybe the Moondrops, the vocals here is a touch less smooth compared to what you get with your Starfields here, but they're very close here. And here in September, maybe there's a touch of mid-bass bleed there. So yeah, definitely the bass here is a bit more prominent compared to your Starfields. But yeah, definitely more of a fun presentation even in the vocal region here. So this is not a boring kind of listen. This is a very musical, upfront kind of listen to the ear. Let's try some I Shot the Sheriff, Eric Clapton. So looking at the cymbals, the body and the cymbals is really good here. So this is what I expect for a dynamic driver type of presentation on top. So yeah, quite full-bodied of a presentation here. And also again, the presentation is quite lively to listen to in the mix. So actually the presentation here reminds me of maybe a TFZ kind of presentation to the ear. Very much lively, musical to listen to even in the cymbals region. But yeah, maybe one issue that I encountered here on top is this might have a bit of sibilance there at the top. So actually this has a 12K extension there. So for some people, you might find some fatigue when listening to this for a long listening session. So look at the soundstage, expansive here. This is quite a big soundstage. Separation, I would say not that good because of the smooth nature of the sound. It's not going to be your black and white type of presentation. And also in terms of detail as well. So this is not the strength of the Yuan TForce. So if you're into detailed retrieval, you might consider maybe a BA type of presentation to the ear. Alright, so now let's go to the signatures. This is more of a warm, neutral, kind of graph for me on the ear. So looking at the bass region, you're getting that maybe recession to around 1K, but a slight recession there. And then after that, it moves up to around 1.5K with a slight elevation. And then after that, it goes down to around 2.5K. And after that, it goes up to around 4K. And then after that, it goes down to around 7K. And then after that, it goes up to around 12K. So you're getting a 12K peak here. It's definitely there, but not that big of a peak compared to maybe other IEMs. Alright, next comparing it to the Blonde Prometheus. So looking at the Blonde Prometheus, it's definitely more of a U type of shape to the ear. So in the mid bass, you're getting a bit more elevation in the Blonde Prometheus. And also in the Blondes as well, you're getting that 7K peak. And also in the Blonde Prometheus as well, you're getting that maybe 15K, 14K peak on top here. So it's a bit more extended there at the top. So definitely for the Blonde Prometheus, your treble will be a bit more prominent in the mix over your Yuan TForce, where it will be a bit more warm to the ear. So definitely for the Blonde Prometheus, it's gonna be a bit more aggressive of a signature here. It's gonna be a bit more V of a signature. You have that extension at the top in the treble, and you have a bit more mid bass as well. So the Blonde Prometheus is still gonna be a bit more fun. So next, comparing it to the Starfields, there's a lot of similarities here between these two. So looking at the trends in the graph here, they both have quite a level bass region. They both have not that much elevation at the treble region, and they both have that 12K extension on top. But in the Starfields, you're getting a bit less bass response, and also in the top end as well, in the 12K, you're getting a bit more elevation in the Moondrops here. But actually, if you look at the 2K to 7K, you're getting a bit more level graph in the Starfields. So a lot of similarities here. If I'm gonna guess, maybe the Yuan TForce drew some references from the Moondrops of the world to make this IEM. So on the ear, they will have a lot of similarities here. But again, as I mentioned in my impressions, your Yuan Li will be a bit more bassy of a listen, maybe a bit more fun of a listen, a bit more aggressive of a listen compared to your Starfields. Alright, last is the Moondrop Aria. So if you look at the Aria, actually this might be even closer to the Yuan TForce in this regard. They both have some similarities in the bass response here. But if you look at the middle, the Aria is gonna be a bit more better positioned in the vocal area, and also in the 12K as well, your Aria will have a bit more elevation there. So actually both of them have that maybe engaging nature to the sound. So yeah, they will be really close in the overall presentation here. But again, keep in mind that your Moondrop Aria will be, you know, cheaper compared to your Yuan Force. Alright, so for the Yuan Force, what do I think of it? Do I like it or not? So for me in general, I actually like it, but it's not perfect for me. So there's some cons here that might be deal breakers for some. So first, I like that it's very close to a Moondrop kind of sound here. So if not, maybe on the ear, it will be hard to tell the difference unless you A/B test them both. This is a bit still more aggressive to listen to over your Moondrops, but in the tuning for you know, first time here in this channel, it's quite impressive that you have a Moondrop-ish you know, kind of listen to the ear, and that's definitely nice on that. We have ample bass at the bottom, the vocal positioning really good. Also on top as well, quite controlled, good body in the cymbals here, and also the build quality of this, I would say better than your Moondrops in this regard. So better cables as well for me, so that's quite impressive on that. So similarities in price compared to your Moondrops, but a bit better built, and that can be a nice value proposition here. However, in the other side for me, this might be a bit too aggressive for some people. So this is definitely more in the aggressive side of presentation, a more musical, engaging, you know, type of listen to the ear. And yeah, for some tracks for me, I did encounter a bit of sibilance or also aggressiveness, and that may deter some people who's you know, prone to fatigue, prone to some aggressiveness in the treble. So yeah, that's one downside for me. And compared to maybe your Starfields, your Moondrops, I didn't encounter that in those IEMs. So it's not a bad IEM by any means, but yeah, here in this channel, I already have the Arias, Starfields of the world, and yeah, in my top 5, I already have them, and we will still choose them over the Yuan Force in this regard. Alright, so that's my take with the Yuan from TForce. Of course, if you learned something, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. So actually, really interesting always to check out new brands, you know, listening to how they tune their stuff. And yeah, quite promising that if that is the brand of TForce, that it's a bit more maybe engaging type of Moondrop. I'm kind of listening to the ear, that might be a nice niche to fill, because a lot of people like Moondrops, and you know, having a bit maybe a slight change from your Moondrops to make it a bit more fun, engaging, might be good for some people. So looking forward for more products from TForce in this regard. So yeah, if you learned something, of course, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next zpolt review. Goodbye.